Happy Saturday morning, all. Thank you for joining me for our 19th episode of Saturday Morning Coffee. I'm Nolan, the lead writer of Dime Novel Adventures. Today, we'll be reading the August 2024 adventure, Dock of Delicacies. If you're ready, I've got my coffee, so let's dive in. Tales of the Titan Masks, Dock of Delicacies, August 2024. A dock of delicatessens in this adventure for your favorite role-playing game. Dock of Delicacies, a level 7 to 9 adventure, August 2024. In this adventure, the party will sail to the island of Arvest and engage in a battle against the Shadow General CERN and its Shadow Gluttons. Written by Flame Reptile. Edited by The One True AZ. Cartographer, the Silent Cartographer. Art by The Noisy Artographer. Disclaimer. Come visit the island of Arvest, where money flows freely, and the treats upon the docks are oh so sweet. Come meet our leader, CERN. He will induct you into our order. Special thanks to Dawn of Dune, The One True AZ, Flame Reptile, Portal Ripper, The Silent Cartographer, Garlic Man, and the Angry Ginger. Setting sail. Over the past 3 months, the party is trained with sailing vessels, gaining proficiency with sailing vehicles. After completing their training, the Guildmaster of Fioria approached the party, gifting them the cargo ship, the Bloody Maru, and asking if they would continue the investigation regarding the Titan masks. Read or paraphrase the following. After completing your training as a crewman over the last 3 months, the Guildmaster of Fioria approaches your party, asking, "You've done well learning to sail over the last few months. I have a gift for you. The Bloody Maru. The reformed Harborfront Security Office has looked her over and granted you possession. Also, I believe we've discovered where the Shadow General Kyojin was sailing to. Are you interested in continuing this fight?" After being gifted their new cargo ship, the Bloody Maru, and agreeing to the Guildmaster's request, the party will be taken to the Guildmaster's office in Fioria, where the party will be introduced to the High Guildmaster of Elendor and given an important quest. As you take seat within the Guildmaster's office, an elderly dragonborn man walks in. Adorned with plumage of all colors resembling a beard and a layered mage's robe, the Guildmaster of Fioria introduces him. "This is Guildmaster Arkalai, the High Guildmaster of Elendor. I called him here a week ago to investigate a strange sea chart we discovered upon the Bloody Maru. Once we believed Shadow General Kyojin intended to use to smuggle away its prisoners. Guildmaster Arkalai believes these charts to lead to the lost lands of Harvest, a portion of northern Elendor lost long ago. We've agreed that an adept group must follow these charts to investigate why the Shadow Generals have been abducting citizens, and where they're taking them to. The High Guildmaster speaks up to the party. Should you choose to accept this quest, and put an end to whatever evil is taking place, you would be rewarded handsomely, and given a place within the High Guild of Elendor. As the party deliberates the acceptance of this quest, and undoubtedly negotiates for better rewards, consider the following. A position within the High Guild of Elendor guarantees a constant stream of jobs and quests the party can take, and a constant stream of income. The High Guildmaster is also willing to compensate the party for their time and efforts. Enough money to live comfortably for the rest of their lives upon completion. Once the party agrees to the Guildmaster's requests, they will begin to brief the party. Read or paraphrase the following. The Guildmaster of Fioria says, "Excellent. Now that we're in agreement, allow me to brief you on your journey. You're to follow these sea charts to the lands of Harvest, where you will investigate and bring an end to the schemes of those that have been threatening Fioria. You can communicate back to me your findings using these." The Guildmaster of Fioria gives each party member an earring of sending. "Given the nature of your enemies, we've prepared numerous charm seals for each of you. Should you run out, however, you will need to return to the mainland for more." The High Guildmaster gives each party 10 charm seals. Should you need a captain and crew, we will be willing to provide them for your journey. However, they will not be joining you upon the lands of Harvest, nor in combat. Once you've made your preparations, set sail and report to your findings to us. Best of luck to you, and Godspeed. Once the party is finished, any discussion they may have, the guildmasters will see the party off. The party will now have the time to prepare for the journey and to set sail. Sailing to Arvest. Once the party has set sail, whether alone, with a captain or crew, it will take several days of sailing to reach the island. With an experienced captain and crew, the trip to Arvest will take 3 days, while the trip with an inexperienced captain and crew may take 6. The Bloody Maru is stocked and outfitted for a year of rations and water for a dozen medium-sized creatures. Utilize any ships and sea supplement and encounters for the party's journey to Arvest. If the captain of the Bloody Maru and its crew are forced to engage in battle, the captain will utilize the bandit captain stat block, while the crew members will utilize the bandit stat blocks. In continuation, Dock of Delicacies is intended to be preceded by the adventures Iron Mask in the east, Whipcracks in the west, and Oni's Tempest. If the party has not completed these adventures, they may need to discover the island of Arvest in a differing manner than described in the introduction Arrival at Arvest. Island of Arvest. The island of Arvest, once called the Lands of Harvest due to its bountiful fields, was once set upon the northern reaches of Elendor before the end of the Second Age. During the collapse that ended the Second Age, Harvest was separated from the mainland by a powerful, shattering spell that broke the land into dozens of fragments and sent them floating away into the sea. Unbeknownst to Elendorians, once the fragments had floated away, they had been forced to coalesce into an island once again by the mage that had cast the shattering spell. The mage would help the survivors to rebuild the island, assuming the false position as a savior and giving them hopes of returning to the mainland. Before the arrival of the Shadow Generals, the island of Arvest had a population of 42,098. Arrival at Arvest. When the party arrives at the docks of Arvest, they will be immediately visited by the Dock Commission, asking for papers. Once the Commission realizes the party is neither Shadow General Kyojin nor Shadow Hunters, they will become aggressive and attack. Read or paraphrase the following. As you approach the lost lands of Harvest and make dock, your ship, the Bloody Maru, is quickly set upon by a group of 5 humans. 5 human men, all dressed in suits. The men step up to the gangplank, which has been dropped by the crew, and board the ship. Pulling out a pocketbook, the tallest of the men begins to flip through the pages and says, "Good evening, gentlemen. May I speak to the Captain Kyojin?" As you fail to produce an audience with Captain Kyojin, the dock workers proclaim, "Gentlemen, you appear to be in possession of a stolen ship. I must take you in to see General Cern. Please, come with me." Split decision. The party is now faced with a decision: resist the dock workers or follow them to meet General Cern. If the party chooses to resist the dock workers, if the party chooses to resist the wishes of the dock workers will become aggressive, transforming into shadow gluttons. Roll initiative. 5 shadow gluttons will engage in combat with the party, choosing to incapacitate a creature rather than slay it, to take it to Shadow General Cern for conversion. If the shadow gluttons are slain, they will melt into puddles of shadow and retreat beneath the door of the nearby building labeled Cern's office. If this happens, Shadow General Cern will emerge from his office to engage in combat with the party upon the docks. If the party chooses to comply with the dock workers' wishes, they will lead the party to a nearby door labeled Cern's office, where the party will be introduced to Shadow General Cern. Shadow General Cern will give the party 2 options: join the ranks of the Shadow Gluttons or be forced to join. If the party chooses to join the Shadow Gluttons, this adventure is concluded. If the party chooses to resist, Shadow General Cern will engage in combat with the party within its office. If the party engages Cern within its office, they will also have 5 Shadow Gluttons to contend with. Shadow General Cern's office. Shadow General Cern's office, labeled Cern's office, is a repurposed warehouse located within the central docks of Arvest. The warehouse has been cleared out and cleaned for its current use. Within Cern's office, Shadow General Cern can be found sitting upon a comfortable-looking chair behind a large desk. Upon the desk are ledgers, which CERN pores over to catalog and number the prisoners that pass through the city. Before the desk sits 3 wooden chairs, and beneath it a large rug. Filling the office, once warehouse, are dozens of cages stacked upon one another, lining the walls. Within these dozens of cages are dozens of humanoids, once captured from the mainland, now only released to be tortured upon one of the 3 filthy torture tables behind CERN's chair. The denizens of these cages cry out in pain for help and freedom. Map. Hanging out along the back wall of Shadow General CERN's office is a map of the island of Arvest. Give the party the auto map of Arvest when they obtain it. Resistance fighters. The denizens of the cages are all resistance fighters that have not accepted the gifts of the Shadow Glutton from CERN. Due to their refusal, they have been imprisoned to be tortured until they become willing to join CERN's ranks. If released, CERN's prisoners will join the party in the future adventures as resistance fighters. The resistance fighters will use the bandit stat block, as many of them are untrained aside from joining the resistance. The keys to the cages can be found within CERN's desk, along with more ledgers. The locks to the cages can be picked with a successful DC 18 sleight of hand check. Failure. If the party is defeated by Shadow General CERN, they will each be stripped of their gear, locked within a cage, and tortured until they escape, are freed, or they become a Shadow Glutton. Here's a map of CERN's office. Shadow General CERN. Shadow General CERN is a massive beast that struggles to move across its office without knocking over nearby cages. CERN wields a massive club and a bladed shield, both of which can swing around to deal massive damage. If given the opportunity, CERN will attempt to grab and swallow enemies. If engaged at a distance, CERN can grab and throw nearby cages at its enemies, reducing Shadow General CERN to 0 hit points. Once Shadow General CERN has been reduced to 0 hit points, it will drop down to 1 knee, where its head will be low to the ground. A character with a charm seal would have an easy time attaching the seal to CERN's forehead. Sealing Shadow General CERN. Once the party has successfully reduced Shadow General CERN to 0 hit points, and Shadow General CERN has failed its saving throw against the charm seal, read or paraphrase the following. After it has taken a knee, you affix the charm seal to the forehead of the brought low Shadow General CERN. It fights to resist the binding magics of the charm, but ultimately fails, as white runes appear across its skin. CERN lets out a pained cry as its body compresses and contorts, being sucked inwards towards its face. After a loud, pained moment, the light of the runes dissipates, leaving behind a large leathery mask with the visage of CERN's face. Any remaining Shadow Gluttons collapse to the floor, within writhing in agony, as the shadows that once possessed their bodies are released, leaving behind the unconscious humanoids that had been possessed. Shadow Gluttons. The Shadow Gluttons are humanoids that have been willingly possessed by the shadows within Shadow General CERN. Often accepting the power to make easy gains, the Shadow Gluttons follow Shadow General CERN's orders without question and with deadly efficiency. Shadow Gluttons appear much as they did before possession. However, they have grown significantly in size and become bulbous and rotund, with a jagged set of teeth upon their lower jaws. In combat, the Shadow Gluttons will utilize their size and flanking tactics to surround an enemy to incapacitate it. Once an enemy has been incapacitated, a Shadow Glutton will remove it from the battlefield and transport it to CERN's office for processing. If a Shadow Glutton reduces a creature to 0 hit points while in CERN's office, it will instead swallow it. Victory. Once the party has defeated Shadow General CERN, read or paraphrase the following. After defeating Shadow General CERN, your party takes some time to free the prisoners from their cages, noticing the map upon the back wall as you do so. Looking at it, it appears to be magical in nature, as the image upon it has changed after the defeat of CERN. Over the next few hours, the party notices many denizens of Arvest appear to be confused and disoriented, having just been released from their imprisonment from CERN. Taking another look at the shifting map, the party now sees a wall that surrounds the interior of the island, marked as Jotun's Wall. With their new heading, your party sets out to investigate Jotun's Wall. The end. Building a rebellion. Because of the party's actions, many of the survivors, now freed from their bonds as shadow gluttons, will be willing to serve the party as a band of rebels seeking to reclaim their island. Quantity of survivors. The total number of survivors freed from Shadow General CERN are equal to 1d4 times 1000 plus 1d10 times 100 plus 1d100. Those that follow. After determining the number of survivors, one party member may roll a charisma persuasion check with advantage. Multiply the result of the persuasion check by 5 to a maximum of 100. This is the percentage of survivors that will follow the party. This adventure contains 2 new monster stat blocks, 3 maps including that of the Bloody Maru ship, and 3 new magic items. An Island of Troubles. The destination of the shipments of prisoners has been discovered. Sail the open seas to the island of Arvest and drop anchor in this dangerous new land. Investigate the Shadow Generals and foil their terrible plans. A level 7 to 9 adventure for a party of 3 to 6 adventurers. An adventure for use with your favorite role-playing fantasy game. That was the August 2024 adventure, Dock of Delicacies. Let us know what you thought about it in the comments below. If you like this adventure, you can find it and many more in our shop on our website at dimenoveladventures.com. While you're there, you should subscribe to our newsletter for weekly updates on all of our products and projects, and join our growing Discord community. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel to see more like this, and let the algorithm know we're doing all right. But most importantly, remember to make your weeks adventurous. Have a good week.